Hello and welcome to Make It Work podcast. I'm Christian and my co-host is Tamberlin.
Hey.
Last week we talked about Barbiecore, but we actually didn't give y'all a formal introduction of who we are and how we met. And so that's what this podcast is going to be about.
I met the illustrious, the fabulous Christian Garza in the Special Collections closet choky area at FIDM. And FIDM is the Fashion Institute of Design and Merchandising. If you don't know that, if you never watched The Hills, if you did not care about Lauren Conrad or Whitney Port when you were young, I feel like you missed out. But yeah, we went to FIDM, and that's how we met, fashion school. Christian, your major was actually fashion design, right?
Yeah. And you were, I think, merchandise marketing, right?
Yes, I was.
Yeah.
So we had like a very symbiotic relationship. We weren't doing the same thing, but it like went together. And we were working on digitizing all these slides from fashion archive shows.
Yeah, it was a really
I don't know
cool
how many we
project.
did.
Because, all the other people who were we were working for the school, but all the other students who were student workers, they were working for, the FIDM store, or I think they had that cafeteria too, right?
Yes,
Like a
that
little-
liquor store thing.
Yes, downstairs. But I had loved libraries, and so I just randomly had asked them if they did any student workers there, and it had been a couple of years because I guess people they had hired before, they weren't very diligent, and then so I just randomly asked them. They were skeptical, but I got along really well with the librarians, so they decided to take me on. And then Tamberlin showed up, and I was super excited because I was alone in this closet again. And then here comes Tamberlin, and we just get along so well. We bonded, and I just loved all the words that she was using because she has a great vocabulary, and she has great taste in music, and she also loved to go to Qdoba for lunch.
Yes, it was very easy for us to, become soulmates. I think the vocabulary was a big one because I grew up with old people and they forced me to use my words and have a big vocabulary. That was a big deal. And I was 12 in high school, so I didn't really have a lot of other things to do besides get ready for the SAT and know those words. So that was cool. And then Christian has a lot of Texas pride. I learned that they indoctrinate their students. So he knew a lot of random facts about his state that I knew about my state, but other Californians don't know. What's the state flower? This, that. California
poppy,
kids,
right?
I don't know. Yes.
Okay.
See, other people don't know. They don't care. So we bonded over that. And then one day, well, of course we have to play music because we're bored in this tiny little room. I wish we could show you a video of the songs.
I have a
But it's
picture. We'll
standing-
insert the picture. I have one of them.
Yes. Standing room only inside this area. And he was there was this streaming service I used to listen to called Shark something. But that was the pre-Apple Music times. And it would just mix music I liked. And then Missy Elliott came on and Christian knew the song. And I don't know why I was shocked, but I was. And I was like, oh my God. I want to be his friend forever. This is so cool.
Yes.
So we just play different things. We would play Nelly Furtado.
I remember
Promiscuous.
and then you showed me because Drake had just done a cover of Fan Mail, the title
Yes.
track. Yes, and we were just singing
Mail.
that. Yes.
I Get Lonely Too. Oh, that was so funny.
It was such a great song.
A great song. And then you pointed out to me that it was from Fan Mail because I did not remember he was singing it in such a different way and from a man point of view.
Yeah.
Until you started saying Fan Mail. You were
Fan
he
Mail.
stole this song. So yes, that was great. We used to go to Qdoba a lot, have a good time. Christian used to be, I don't know if he still is. Well, yeah, he is. We just left New York. He's addicted to pizza.
Oh yeah, not anymore.
And I remember he was having a religious crisis because it was Lent and he'd given up his two favorite things in life, pizza and Pepsi? Or
Pepsi.
Coke?
Yes, it's
Pepsi for Lent. He came in and he was disheveled. He was distraught. He was like, what am I going to do? I've got to have one. I shouldn't have gave up both.
And-
Jesus didn't ask us for that.
But 10 years later, I just gave up Catholicism.
There you go, because it was holding you back.
Yes. But now I had to give up gluten, so whatever. It all worked out.
Aw, gluten-free pizza is probably not delicious either.
It's not good. No.
And then you move back to Texas after school because who can really afford to live in LA? I had to move to the suburbs of California. after we got kicked out of our student jobs.
Oh, yeah. Because
we
it
graduated.
was great because we had a cushy job. We were doing such a great job. Like, they didn't expect us to get through all those slides. This, like, famous photographer, he donated all of his slides and all of his photographs, and they were all kept on slides because, you know, they're pre-digital. And so he donated his entire collection. But, of course, it was in disarray. So we were supposed to go through all these slides and categorize them by year, fashion designer, and season. And then they didn't anticipate us getting through any of those, let alone, like, actually getting to the digitization process. And we started that, right? Like,
yes,
just
we
barely.
did.
Yeah.
They gave us that little weird machine, and it was like, it would take forever to, like, make sounds like a dial-up computer.
Yes.
And then pop up on the screen.
Yeah, and then you could just, like, we could preload, like, so many slides into it and just, like, let it do its thing. We're like, okay, we're going to lunch.
Yes, so we have to wait in there.
Yes.
And just hang around. That's probably how, those were our more fun times because we got through the organizing portion.
Yes.
Also, the room was temperature controlled, so it was always very cold. So I feel like I was never really dressed for the day. I was dressed for my job, and I looked weird coming to work all the time, like with sweaters, a scarf.
But then also going to FIDM, like, I guess we can kind of go into our, like, experience at FIDM, but, you know, I feel like when you first started, everybody was, like, super fashionable, especially, like, in fashion design, like, the first the first week, everybody's, like, super excited to be there, you know, dressed to the nines, and then after that, it's like, who's this homeless child that's in here, and why they look depressed?
It did slowly start to decline. Like, as you get deeper into your major, you lose the time that you had and just the momentum to really look cute.
Oh, yeah.
Also, I think another big thing that, like, separated the girls who really do this, like, that's their thing, is just being hot, and the ones of us that were doing it just to be accepted, because there are really no, like, a lot of guys at FIDM. We don't have sports.
Oh, yeah.
It's a fashion college. So you're not really coming here to impress anybody per se. So it just got very ugly. Like, after the girls figured that out, it got real pajamas. If Crocs were out back then, I would have definitely seen some Crocs.
Yeah.
We had roller bags. That was the only time a roller bag was ever acceptable in my school career.
Yeah.
Because we were, like, breaking our backs, carrying all these supplies and paint and rulers.
Oh, my gosh. I
All over
totally forgot about
downtown
that.
LA. Yes. And we have a homeless crisis in downtown LA. Mm-hmm. And I remember at FIDM orientation, them, like, telling us but kind of glossing over it and then handing out these whistles. And they were like, if you're walking around downtown by yourself, or if you're going to park your car, like, here's this. And I was like, and the girl next to me was like, is this a rape whistle? And my mind was blown. I never heard of that.
But also, this
it was
like
green. It said FIDM on it.
This was like, what? Like 10 years ago? Yes.
Yeah, 2009, 2010. Yeah,
wow.
We graduated in 2011.
So this was like before downtown got this, you know, recent development. And so it was way sketchier.
It was way, way sketchier. Like, right past FIDM was the danger zone. It was Gotham City.
Yes. And then, you know, they had us going because it was like, you know, FIDM was like, I feel like central. And then you'd go out to like the garment district, you know, look for fabric or sourcing stuff. And, you know, you just walk around and it's like all these homeless people and I don't know, kind of sketchy. But it was fun.
So. And very fun, an adventure. I remember our first week, like after orientation, school was shut down because of the death of Michael Jackson, and he had his funeral downtown LA, and we wouldn't have been able to get to school.
I remember
I came downtown.
Another big death was McQueen. It was shortly after we started, yeah.
That was a big deal, fashion-wise.
Yes.
And FIDM was very cool because we had like a cast of characters or students. Like I said, it did quickly separate the people who were doing this to fit in and the people who did this for like a lifestyle choice. FIDM was the first place I would see people, boys and girls, fully dressed in Rick Owens. Like, that's the thing now. Everybody and their grandma's doing it on Instagram. But FIDM was the first time I saw like high fashion goth kids.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
They had that money.
Yeah, it's like, how did they have that money? It's so expensive.
I had no idea. And this one boy in particular, I wish I could remember his name, but I can like see his face and his outfits, everything. He was coming in the pumps, the Rick Owens pumps. He had like the tattered rags swathed around him. Like, he just looked very mythical.
I wonder what he's up to now.
He's probably got an OnlyFans account to pay for all that stuff.
Oh, definitely. Like,
And then there was girls, like a select group of girls that would come every day, like housewife chic, Louboutins, a Diane von Furstenberg dress, like a Cartier Love bracelet, very
oh my God.
housewives of downtown LA.
It's like, how did they? Well, I guess they must have had like the easier degrees.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or like, you know, their parents. I remember being in the like financial aid counseling office and girls kind of being there arguing, like, I'm only coming to college so I can get like my trust fund. I don't know why my parents are acting like this with me.
Oh my God. Must be nice.
I'd be like, damn, I really need this money to like pay rent. I'm hoping this financial aid comes through.
Oh, right, because you live close to USC.
Yes, I lived in an apartment with Asha. I'll show you guys like a little picture of Asha. She was in our New York blog.
Yeah.
But yeah, we lived kind of in the hood. USC, that's the other weird thing about USC. USC is a very prestigious, expensive school, but it's in the ghetto of LA.
Yes.
And there's a lot of like homeless people, gang members, pimps, prostitutes on the way from FIDM to USC.
So sketch. Oh, wow.
And I would pass them on the bus with my FIDM bag. Old men would try to flirt with me. Where you going with all that stuff? You need some help? You going camping?
So weird.
And like being dressed cute in the summertime, going to the bus downtown LA is like the stupidest idea you could ever have. All of the men are getting off work, like the servicemen.
Oh.
I learned a lot very quickly.
After FIDM, what did you do?
After FIDM, I wanted to work in fashion, honestly, Doug, because we just had a whole immersion experience in that. But living in California, none of those jobs really paid me a livable wage. That like all of them kind of wanted you to start from the bottom, if not be a flat out intern for a couple of years to like show yourself worthy for these positions. And I just didn't have that, so I worked at like 2 stores downtown LA. I worked at a vintage designer store, I worked at a wedding planning shop, and then I worked in the library. And the library kind of let me stay on for a little while after graduation until school started again. And I ended up getting a job at a bank. Like that was the first place that would hire me. And yeah, I've just worked in finance since then. I never really got back into fashion as far as career-wise and outside of just hobby stuff and like podcasts, internet stuff. But those fashion jobs do not pay you enough.
They don't.
To be alive.
Especially, they pay so little, but also we graduated like right after the recession.
Yes.
And so the jobs that were available, they paid very little and it was super competitive to get them. Right after I finished.
And I learned like fashion has a lot of nepotism.
Definitely. Oh my God. Well, I
too,
feel
so
like
those like sliver of jobs.
Even now, I feel like it's easier to get a job having known somebody that's already with them, like whatever company you're trying to get with. So
definitely.
After finishing, I ended up working for H&M full time. Actually, I think at that point it was still part time, and then I was interning at a menswear line that is now defunct. But he'd won a couple of awards, like prestigious, like Italian awards. I'll have to like find those and I'll include pictures of all the designs that he created. But he got a lot of buzz. It's just, you could tell it was like poorly managed. And then another internship I interned for Libertine, which is still around and it's still in Bergdorf's. At one point I helped with their New York Fashion Week show, which was really exciting to like be backstage and, you know, the energy of it. And it's like you go to school and you learn all this and then there you are, like helping dress these models. Of course, at that point, it was still unpaid, and H&M was like fronting the bills. And then I think it's because it was so difficult. Also, at one point, I think I had a job in costuming for like film and TV. I had made some costumes, like the grapes for the Hanes commercials.
Yes, I remember that.
Yes, it was like making those fruits. It was so random, and it was funny because like it was so random how I got the job. I think it was like connections through FIDM, but the ladies who I was working with on this project, they were much older, like 50s, 60s, and they were like super lovely older women. We were just chatting about like the most random things, finishing up these great projects. But then we just, I think I was like kind of downtrodden, just like, you know, going out to LA and finishing my degree, and, you know, you're told to get this education and that more opportunity will be available to you, but sadly it is not true.
Yes, I remember like maybe for 2 years after FIDM just feeling really scammed because initially I was going to move to Europe. I had like got accepted to school in London. I went out of my way to figure that out. I like did all these loan documents and stuff. But as you said, it was right after or kind of during our recession. So the pound was way, way higher than the dollar, and I was going to end up paying double for tuition. And like as bad as I wanted to go, I just could not be realistic with myself because I was like already struggling in LA. And I was like, dang, I'm really going to go do this, be more in debt, and then come home, like back to America, because they're only going to let me stay for school. They were very strict and serious about the visa situation. So I'm going to come home, I'm not going to have an apartment, I'm not going to have a car, and I'm not going to have a job. Then I'm going to owe more money.
Yes.
Like, maybe the dream has got to stop right here for a second because what are we doing? Like, I can't even get a fashion job out here. How am I going to make this work? And it was just, yes, very defeating. And then at that time, I feel like my major, I wanted to be a buyer for a store or have my own boutique. And that with the internet and like the proliferation of social media, it was like everybody and their grandma had a boutique overnight, an Instagram boutique. And it was like, dang, they have stole my future. Like, how am I going to do this? I don't have like a rich boyfriend or a rich mom that can buy me a Chanel bag and some designer shoes to like put on my cheap dress with and sell it to these girls on Instagram. What the fuck? Like, my heart was just broken. And then I was just going to these corporate jobs every day that I didn't like. I was like the youngest person in the building all the time. Dressed like a substitute teacher. Everything about me fashionable had to be put aside. It was just horrible. Like, I would not go back to those years for nothing.
Oh my gosh. I never knew that you got, or like you went, or you intended to go to London.
Yeah, I wanted to get out of here.
Yeah. Because I had also got accepted to the London College of Fashion, but that was for the fashion design. And then the same thing. It's just like, am I going to waste all this money, come back, be in debt, like to the same situation? It really wasn't worth it. Because,
like, in my mind, I want to go to Paris, but I don't speak French. Like, I took French for a year in high school, and that was it. I'm working on, like, a tourist level French. I was like, that's not going to be cool at school. At least London, it'll be English. It'll be cool. London is more so my style of how I dress, like, kind of punk, kind of, you know, so I thought it'd be cool. And they just crushed my dream like an ant. It was crazy with that exchange rate.
Oh, yeah.
But now the pound is down, so I feel like if I wanted to run it back, I could. But
we're much older now.
Look at society now. Yeah, nobody really, at least I feel like, and I could be wrong, you give me your opinion on this. I feel like they, as much as they preach college and education to us, when it comes to creative fields, nobody respects that or cares. They want you to grind it out. Like,
yes.
Have you worked here for 5 years? Are you already famous? Do you know anybody famous? Have you styled Beyonce? Have you picked out any shoes for any reality show girls? Like,
definitely.
That's what they care about. They don't care if you went to school.
No, just that.
Or like now, if you've built a platform on your own, like, how many followers do you have? Are people engaged with your content? Yeah, we'll give you a job here.
That's so true. I feel like I read somewhere about like auditions for like casting agents or whatever. It being a similar way, it's just like them asking, you know, what's their following online, and that like helped them to get their jobs.
Oh, I heard that. I heard that with models specifically. There was this group of girls, and they were saying how sort of the not to disparage the reality show, but they were like, at first that wasn't really something that was accepted in fashion, you know, being kind of everywhere. You had to seem exclusive and seem mysterious. But now they're like, they give those girls precedence. So if you're like a TikTok star, or you're on a reality show, or your mom is a Beverly Hills housewife or whatever, you're going to get like peak positioning with these brand deals, with modeling jobs, because they feel like you're going to be able to sell it more online than these just random pretty faces.
Yeah,
so it's like, you know, being 6 foot and skinny ain't just the ticket anymore.
I guess it's fine because, you know, more people can be represented, but also then you have to wonder, it's like, you know, these people are, their personalities, you know, it gets kind of tricky because like then the brands have to make sure, oh, that's a different story, we'll have to get into that, but you know, like whether or not these brands are picking them because they have this audience, and if they properly go along like what that brand then stands for, because then they're taking them, you know, they're matching these models and their personality, their brand, with what like a L'Oreal stands for.
I mean, even with FIDM, right? Like, I can't say that the advertising of, like, I watched Laguna Beach when I was young. So I can't say that the advertising of the hills and, like, Elsie living her life and just so happening to do this thing didn't kind of give me a path or idea for the things I already have. Like, I grew up with the Teen Vogue subscription since I was a little kid, like 8, 9 years old. But I didn't know about fashion as a career, like the path to it. I grew up in the 90s, like fashion shows and all that were super popular. Jean Paul Gaultier, John Galliano, like that was everywhere. No path to it, no clear. And then in LA, like my neighbor, she used to do costuming on TV shows. Like she worked on Moesha, she worked on the Parkers, and she went to Otis. And she told me like, yeah, you can go to fashion school and I could kind of figure out a way. You know, she did that because it was more fashion design, so she would make the clothes. But yeah, like there would be a path for you. You know, this will help you figure it out. And I was just like, feeling played, feeling scammed.
Yeah, the only reason I even put the two together is because originally I loved illustrating, and I took a fashion illustration course here in Dallas, and then I didn't even know that fashion illustration was like a thing, and then looking into that and like researching all these like famous illustrators, and then getting in connecting that to design, and then I was all of a sudden on a whim, within like a couple of months, I was in California and going to FIDM.
It was very cool. I felt like you were, because you had already went to college before, right?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, like all my basics done. And so going into FIDM, it was like all I had to do was, just the design courses. And I didn't have to go and do like English at design school because that would have been a waste.
Yeah. Well, like a lot of us didn't know about the professional designation thing. It would have saved a lot of money and a lot of time. Yeah. But just in knowing you in FIDM, it was like you were a little bit more grown up than the rest of us. Like you kind of had things more figured out. You had like your apartment with Mandy, and you had more things going on. You weren't just lost. Like I'm coming to FIDM and I'm stressed the fuck out. Like I don't know how I'm gonna make it. You were more so happy about being in California and like the adventure element of it too.
I guess so, which is funny because like it's different perspectives. I felt like I was a hot mess, moving to California, had no real direction. Oh, it was crazy. Mandy and we had a lot of crazy stories.
You and Mandy, like, well, I only met Mandy a little bit, like, in passing and doing activities, but, like, that's the point of this. You guys used to have, like, the most fun things planned.
Yes.
It was like you were already adults. Like, oh, come to our apartment. We're going to have Lady Gaga night. We're playing the concert. We're going to eat food. It's like, oh, this is so cool. Like, this is what my adult life is going to be like. We went to see Florence and the Machine.
Oh, yeah.
That was really
at the
fun.
Greek.
We saw Fleet Foxes. Yes, we saw Florence and the Machine at the Greek. She was sponsored by Gucci. She looked beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
She looked ethereal
So
like
good.
an angel. We saw Fleet Foxes. That was a very cool, like, hipster experience for me. We saw Danny DeVito.
Oh, right. In the, like, mezzanine.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, he had, like, a mob of hot model white girls with him that were, like, all towering over him.
And I didn't realize how, like, short he was until, like, then.
Yes.
Weird.
All I saw was, like, him and Matilda standing around all those hot girls.
All I thought about was, like, him as the penguin.
I'm seeing Mr. Wormwood. Like, Mr. Wormwood, you saw all these cars to get here tonight with these girls?
Yes.
So, yeah, we used to have fun. You guys had a cholo party.
Oh,
that was cool.
That was fun times.
It was the first time I had queso, like, at home, not from Qdoba.
Oh, right. I remember going out there, and it was, like, lesser of a... I don't know, I feel like queso is really big in Texas, at least.
Yeah, we don't have, like, Tex-Mex here. We just have regular Mexico.
Oh.
It's California.
Travesty.
I love Tex-Mex, though. It's so fun. So when you went back to Texas, how was that experience? Were you, like, sad? Were you annoyed? Because when I had to move from LA to the suburbs, I cried on the freeway. And it's not even, like, in a different state.
I think I was, like, wondering if I was making the right decision. But I came back. I knew I was going to go back to school because, I went to California and I did the whole design school thing. And that didn't pan out so well. And so I decided to come back to Dallas and then go back to school for business. Because, you can just get a job in anything. And it turns out business school is the worst. I did fine because it's super easy, I feel like a lot of it's just like logical. It was just super boring to me. I'd rather be doing like 100 million other things. So it took a while. I graduated and then, I don't know, now I just want to do everything that's creative. And so now I'm a photographer.
I kind of had the same experience when I was like leaving FIDM and then deciding not to go to Europe. The counselor, and I thank God for him because I feel like before at FIDM I had a bunch of like not to disparage them, but women that were more so like me, they were just like happy-go-lucky. They were creative people too, and maybe that's even how they landed in that job, just happenstance. But on the way out, I got a man, and he was like very direct with me, like, so what are you gonna do? Like, with these credits, you said you want to go to USC, you want to go to UCLA, because I'm still in my young mind. I'm 18 now, I'm finished with FIDM, and I'm thinking still about prestige. Like, I need connections and I need a network to get these jobs. Like, my family doesn't have those things. I have to get it through, like, myself. And he's like, okay, cool, yeah, you could get into these schools, like, with your grades, with blah, 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 but what are you going to do? Like, you're going to be an art history major, and then what kind of job are you going to get? You're going to work at a museum? How are you going to get that job? I'm just like, fuck, like, he's right. What am I going to do? And then it was like, okay, well, you have these credits. You know, you could go to a state school. You could go to, like, a Cal State, and you could do business admin, and you could get whatever kind of job. I'm like, all right, cool. Yeah, I'll do that. And then, like you said, I go to community college, and the classes are easy enough, but it was just, like, deathly boring. I was miserable going all the time. And then it being so easy didn't help either, because I would just procrastinate and BS to the last minute and, like, just write these little BS papers and pass their stupid tests. No way I could do that. And I already had, like, the corporate jobs, and I was already bored. And I just felt like, why do I hate myself? Like, why am I doing this? So now I'm just an internet person, I guess. I'm trying to make something happen with it.
Yes, and now you're trying to build a farm in California.
Yes, because I don't want to be scammed by the housing market out here.
Yeah.
That too. Yes. There were just a lot of things. I think, like, life hit me very young, like being snatched out of my little comfort zone at FIDM. And having all these adult things attack me. Maybe this sounds messed up. We're being honest here. I cannot build like a cute little cage for myself. Like, oh, I'm going to go out, I'm going to get this house that I know I really can't afford, but I'm going to struggle and like pretend. And I'm going to get this car, and I'm going to get married, and I'm going to have these kids, and then just be in a prison of my own design. And then have to go to these jobs that I don't like, that I don't care about, and take it serious on pain of death because I just bought all this shit.
Yes, it's like we're so sold that we're supposed to be in debt. And then, you know, you're just like working for the things that you already own.
And that just seems so miserable to me. So I was like,
is that what Kanye would call the new slave? Like chasing all
basically,
this capitalism?
Yeah. Chasing all of it. I think he was more so like about materialism, like, oh, we're buying this designer stuff that we can't afford and all. But it's the same thing with your lifestyle. I think that people kind of get a little bit preachy about it, especially with our generation, like, oh, you millennials aren't serious and you just want to be on Instagram and, you know, drinking your iced coffee and going on your trips. Because why are we going to buy this shit that had you locked up for 30 years, a house, all of this stuff? We know we're not going to get to keep it. We saw the crash of 2009, and y'all took these houses back like it was nothing and sold them to different people. So, yeah, why are you mad that I want to wear a Gucci outfit instead and have 3 roommates? It's my business. It's my life.
I guess eventually we could go into like some kind of financial, I don't know, things we've done wrong.
Yes. So like, oh yeah, definitely don't spend your money on these things or whatever. Yeah. And then like what we talked about recently, like traveling with intention instead of just, I have money, so I'm going to go here and I'm going to let the rest figure itself out.
God, no. I think in general, people should be more intentional with their lives.
I feel like it's hard living our society because it's just add.
Yeah. And we're just like sold all these dreams like, oh, I have to be here. I have to be doing this thing and buying this air fryer.
You know what the newest thing is that I realized that I would be an influencer, and I had to check myself. Like, all right, we're too old for this. Like, you have to. It's all these girls going to Turks and Caicos, and they're in this clear kayak, and they're in this beautiful clear water. And it was like, Google and your phone really does listen to you. I feel they really do suggest things to you, especially Instagram now. It's never your friends. It's always a suggested post. And it was like, just for maybe 3 weeks, all I saw was these girls in Turks and Caicos in these clear kayaks, like living the life that I deserve. And I'm like, what am I doing wrong? Like, why am I not going there? And I'm thinking, I'm just in the house with myself. I'm like, I never even considered going there. I really don't care about an island vacation. I feel like they're a dime a dozen. What is the difference between being on the beach in Jamaica and here and there? Like, this is not interesting. It's a picture. It's aesthetic reasons only. What am I going to do for the rest of the day in Turks and Caicos besides take a nap?
Oh, my gosh. Yes.
So I'm obsessing over this thing that I don't really care about. Like, I'm much more of what we talked about. Oh, we're going to go to Mexico City for Day of the Dead and, like, run around and dress up. Have fun. I'm way more of that type of person.
Well, and then I'm like...
But I was just bombarded with these images.
Don't get me started on, like, cruises. a lot of my like friend groups here, they're just like crazy about cruises. Like, oh, come with this cruise. You know, everything's paid for. You can just drink on a boat. And it's like, yeah, but then you get to this destination and then you spend like a couple hours and you have to be back on this boat. Like, let me just fly to this place, then like fully be engulfed in their culture instead of just like doing things that I don't do on land. Like, I don't need to be by this pool all day. I don't need to go see this show tunes. Like, no, thank you.
I was on a cruise and it was so weird. It was like an alternate reality, a virtual reality experience for me. We're on this boat and we're really stuck in here. I don't like that kind of idea. Maybe I'm more of a hippie and a free spirit than I'd like to like admit for, take ownership of, but that alone just creeped me out. As soon as I was there for 30 minutes, I was like, fuck, I really can't get out. What am I going to do if I get tired of being here? Like, I'm trying to come up with a plan. There are no plans. So, I got to accept it. 3 days we're in here. And then it's like cruise ship world. Like, people are going to the casino. The club is the same people every night. Earlier, you saw this man out with his wife and his baby by the kiddie pool. And tonight he's in the club by himself looking creepy, standing on the wall.
So weird.
It was odd. Like, we did drunk karaoke because we were bored. And then it's like, oh, I'm going to see this person at the buffet tomorrow. And they're going to like, try to talk to me about it. I don't want to talk about that shit.
Yes, you don't exist past tonight.
Yeah, I don't know you. This is a cruise ship. We're not going to be friends over here. I don't want to see you out in natural habitat.
Exactly. And so I guess...
But the idea that everything is paid for is very enticing to people.
And I feel like... I don't know. We've traveled like once together, but I feel like we can get more for our money and be more intentional with it for less.
And yeah, we have different tastes. I am not better than anyone. Let me preface this statement because
let me tell you, she is.
I'm not better than anyone. I like different things. And like he said, for less money than a cruise, or maybe for the same amount, we went to New York. We were out and about on the town. It was the frozen town, but we were out on it.
So cool.
We ate pizza at Grimaldi's. We went to the Dior exhibit. We did fashion-y things. We went to Fifth Avenue. We saw the shops. We went to Bergdorf's. We had lunch. Like, we're doing those type of things. And you just can't do that on a cruise ship or on some type of retiree vacation.
Yes. I feel like we had like actual adventures. There were so many like crazy things that happened. And like, we'll have to like link some of our vlogs above, but...
Yes.
Just like we randomly just...
We went to Summit Vanderbilt.
Oh, yes. Oh, my gosh. And I'm scared of heights.
You were so freaked out. I was like, do you want to walk right here? You said, no.
I pay all this money to be up here. We're going to take full advantage of it. But also, how we went to the Dior exhibit, you know, we didn't have tickets. We were just hoping to get there early enough to, like, get one. And then just, like, randomly, just, like, happenstance, people in front of us offered us there are 2 extra tickets. I don't know. We were meant to be there.
Yes. Other fashion people felt our need, and they helped us in the spirit. There's no fashion themed cruises or party buses, whatever people, I don't know. I also think that certain people like a group planned activity like that. Like people go on those trips like air treks and they're with the travel group and they've got itineraries and they're going to do that. I don't know if I'm that type of person.
I don't know. I'm the Capricorn, so I did the whole itinerary for our trip.
Like even you communicated with me like, oh, what do you want to do? Like, let me know. I mean, those pre-planned trips where it's like Lizzie McGuire movies. Yes. You know, you're showing up.
And you're forced to do the same thing with these random people. I'm just like, no thanks. Yeah. I'm going to do what I want. Mm-hmm. We went to the FIT museum. We saw those exhibits as well.
Yes, we did.
With Eddie.
Those were great.
We'll have to interview Eddie.
Eddie is very cool.
He's so great.
He's working like for a menswear line right now.
So that's great. Because he went abroad. So he went to school in London. I forget which school. I think he started at Central St. Martin and then finished elsewhere.
Yes. I saw his fashion show. So yeah, he went to Central St. Martin.
So we know things.
Yes. We know cool people. Yes. We're cool.
And I guess that brings us back to, like, that's our background, but also adding our credentials. And so this is what our podcast is about. It's like us dissecting fashion, whether it be a show, a runway, a red carpet.
And we've seen thousands and thousands of shows. So like now I feel like everybody on social media, especially like Twitter and Instagram, are obsessed with archive fashion and like using that word. We've been about that. We've been knowing about it. So we could really tell you like about the things and the history of your looks and like why that designer got fired from that house, why he's not there anymore.
Like, thoroughly invested.
That's the funniest part of archive fashion
Yes.
for me.
The scandals.
Yes, and it's like people are hyping these looks up so much. It was like, where were y'all when he got dragged up out of there? Where were all of you fans?
So I guess that's a synopsis of who we are and what we're going to go over, and so what you can look forward to with listening to our podcast.
Yes, and hanging out with us. I would like you guys to be our third friend. You know, it's Christian and I here, but you can serve as a third friend, and sometimes you can say things to us. You can email us at makeitworkpod. We'll put it up, or we'll put it in the description. If there's things that you want us to talk about, if you want to get advice from us, like, what if you're going on a really hot date and you're not a fashion person and you want advice about how you should dress? Or you're getting married and that's very crazy time. You don't know, do you want to go slutty wedding dress? You want to go traditional? You want to be Grace Kelly? You want to be, Rihanna?
Yeah, we can run the gamut.
Kardashian? Whoa, I think she took it a little bit lingerie. If you want to do that, we'll help you still. But we're going to let you know your grandma or your mom is not going to be happy. We're going to preface it with that. But yeah, anything fashion related, we would love to help you guys and sort of build our tribe of people. And this can be like reciprocity in our relationship. It won't just be you watching us. We can talk to you too. We can help you too. Also, how you could help us with the podcast so we can reach more people and build our fashion family is to leave us a review. Leave us some stars, a positive story about the show, whatever you like. We also are going to post on YouTube and TikTok. So if you are more so of a TikTok person or a social media person, we'll also be there and you can interact with us there. But we really need some reviews for our podcast.
So don't think of us as so much the fashion police of yesteryear. We're not so like critical. Think of us as the Paul Blart Mall Cop, like sweet and sensitive, but we will get the job done. We will tell you the truth.
Yes. We don't want you to look crazy, but we're not going to berate you. You know? Also, we're going to leave room for your personal style because everybody is not super chic, slim, black, glasses, fashiony, Interwan Tour, blunt bob. Some people are a little bit more hippie. Some people are a little bit more, librarian style. And we will help you within your wheelhouse. We don't want you to be uncomfortable.
Well, thanks for watching.
Bye.